Maritime Matters is brought to you live by Bahamas Maritime Connection.
What is maritime?
Maritime, simply put, relates to navigation or commerce on the high seas.
Some say money makes the world go round. I say ships move the money that make the world move.
Who navigates those large international ships?
How often are international ships required to be surveyed and inspected?
Maritime also protects our seas and borders by way of our local Bahamas Defense
It
Force.
is very sad to say that out of 1,500 plus ships that are registered under the Bahamian flag, only a very small amount of Bahamians are employed.
Maritime Matters.
And pleasant good evening to you, our valued listening audience. Welcome one, welcome all, and then welcome some more. Welcome to Maritime Matters. I am your host, Captain Glenn Bain. Our sponsors for tonight's show are One-on-One Pharmacy and also Island Care Pharmacy. For all your medication needs, check out my little cousin, Shanty McBride, and her lovely team at One-on-One Pharmacy in Nassau and Island Care Pharmacy, of course, in Freeport, the second city. Fill your prescription at the store, or send your refills via the online site, oneononepharmacy.com. That's oneononepharmacy, all lowercase, one word.com. The three locations are East Street South, Charles Sanders Highway, and of course, Explorers Way in downtown Freeport. We are secondly sponsored by Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. Yeah, that's us, BMC. We provide the full slate of ISPS maritime security services. Those of you with ports, big ships, let us know. We're here for you. We are also proud to be sponsored by the joint sponsorship, GBI Pilots and Bimini Pilots. These are a contingent of independent marine pilots that are making themselves available to provide maritime pilotage to any and all ships anywhere in the country. That means any family island, private island, key, whatever. Everything outside of Nassau Harbor proper and Freeport Harbor proper, these guys are available. They are very capable, and they're waiting for you to give them a call. Again, that's GBI Pilots and Bimini Pilots. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we shall engage discussions on the demolition of the Coral Harbor Shanty town. Also, the recent escalation of crime in New Providence. You know, we're talking a maritime show, but when things like this going on, you can't ignore it, eh? So we can talk a little bit about this escalation of crime. We may not have all the answers, but we got to suggest one or two, eh? Also, we're going to share a litany of international maritime challenges. Topics should include the following, therefore. Albacore Shanty Town. You know, Albacore Shanty Town was our big last week topic, and we feel that next week or shortly thereafter, when that month is up, we'll be talking about that big shanty town in Albacore coming down. But for tonight, we'll be talking about the Coral Harbor Shanty Town. Over 70 houses being demolished by this weekend. It started already. Couple came down today. Couple can come down tomorrow. And then, of course, by the end of the week, all will be down. We want to talk about the escalation of crime, almost a murder a day we experienced during the month of January in 2024. Will this disaster be curbed? Will it get worse? What are some of the things we could do to kind of shift it in a more positive direction until it comes around to what is normalcy for us? But we don't want this to become normalcy, eh? We're going to talk about the Red Sea dilemma. You got war in the Red Sea area. And when we say war, we're not talking about country fighting country. Well, I guess in a way it is country fighting country. But the Red Sea area is so important, ladies and gentlemen, that while the Houthis are causing ships to turn away and go all the way around the Cape of Good Hope, they're causing a lot of problems with worldwide maritime shipping. And that's why this topic is so important to us. Because the Red Sea is a passage that saves a lot of time for ships, a lot of money for ships. And when ships got to do more, burn more fuel, and spend more time at sea before they could deliver the goods, it affects all of us because the prices go up for everybody. The convenience of having it on a timely basis is no longer existing. So, all of us are going to feel it. But why are the Houthis doing this? We'll discuss that later on in the show. Why the Houthis are creating havoc in the Red Sea. And, of course, we got military power chasing them up. But although there are strikes all over Yemen to try and smoke out the Houthis, the attacks continue. So there's very minimal effect or impact of those attacks, those efforts to stop the Houthis from shooting missiles at ships. As a matter of fact, they're now shooting missiles at warships. Those guys ain't care. And they seem to be so enshrined into the communities and the peoples, because you got to remember that these are people from Yemen. So they're not strangers going to Yemen and doing this thing. These people are from families in Yemen. That's why it's so difficult to pinpoint and isolate them, because they belong to the people. They're part of the people. Why are they doing this? We'll discuss it. It all stems, as we discussed last week to some extent, from the bombing that the Israelis are doing in the Gaza Strip. And the Houthis are saying that they don't stop the bombing, we're not going to stop the bombing either. So until the Israelis decide they're going to stop the bombing, the Houthis are saying that they're going to continue. I think I see some phones lit up. Is that the case, Mr. Producer? Let's just check these lines and clear them real quick before I go any further. Calling on Maritime Matters. Hello. Okay, so there's nobody there. Good evening, calling on Maritime Matters. Hello. There's nobody there. Okay, good. So I suppose those lines are now all clear and good to go. And the number to call is 326-8255. If you want in on this early part of the discussion, we ain't really start discussing much yet. This is just what we're going to talk about, eh? So we're talking about the Houthis, why they're doing what they're doing, how the military might of the US, Britain, and the entire EU is going to be coming after the Houthis if this thing don't stop. But that's like asking, is Israelis going to stop the bombing in the Gaza Strip? Because that's why the Houthis are doing what they're doing, eh? And then we got all kind of ships like the cruise ships, container ships, car carriers, tankers. They're all scared. Well, they have reason to be scared, because if you got rocket propelled grenades and rockets being launched, because you gotta understand now, this Red Sea is connected at the north end by the Suez Canal, which leads into the Mediterranean Sea. And to the southeastern end, they got some of the most dangerous waters in the world when it comes to piracy, eh? Because on the opposite side of Yemen, on the opposite side of the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, because it's the Gulf of Aden, is Somalia. Somalia is the biggest piracy country in recent times. They are known for having pirates attacking ships and bringing ships in and taking over the ships. So you got Yemen on one side shooting bombs, and the Somalis and the Somalians on the next side trying to get on board ships to pirate them and bring them in. But not many ships passing that way nowadays. Most of them are actually avoiding that area and going all the way around Africa to come back up to get to Europe or to the US. And what has happened recently is a lot of those ships, the route between over the Pacific Ocean from China, Japan, from that area, they're now coming across the Pacific and taking their cars and the goods and computer stuff. They're taking them now to San Francisco and LA and the western coast of the US. So big things are going on. The Houthis are causing a lot of disruption. And again, the Houthis are saying until the bombing in Gaza stop, they're not going to stop. Then we're going to talk a bit about wind farms and solar energy sources. Because the world is changing. And the world is changing in big seismic shifts, Seismic shifts. In other words, what we're accustomed to is changing. And it's going to change so rapidly over the next 15 to 20 years that we're going to see streets with no gas stations. Do you know that in 20 years' time, you probably wouldn't have any gas stations? Well, you probably wouldn't even have any gas cars, no vehicles taking gas or diesel. All vehicles in about 20 years are going to be electric vehicles, or as they call them now, EVs. Because at some point over the next 10 years, those EVs are going to be cheaper than combustible fuel vehicles. They're not only going to be cheaper to purchase, they're going to be cheaper to operate. Because the cost of electricity is going to go way down. Why the price of electricity is going to go way down? Because we're going to be using wind energy and solar energy. You don't have to bring fuel all the way from the Persian Gulf around the world for people to have fuel to give to cars. Cars ain't going to need no more fuel. Right? We can have our own wind farms. We can have our own solar farms. And these things today, and we can talk about some of this. I really wish we'll wait till next week. Because boy, let me tell you something. Today, these things, they're not only turning out megawatts of power to service communities. They're now starting to turn out gigawatts of power to service communities. So as time moves on, these things are going to be more efficient, more effective, less costly, and you and I are going to basically be charging our cars from our house overnight. When you go to a restaurant, you could plug in the charger. It ain't gonna be no gas station because you and I are not going to sit to gas station waiting on a car to charge. Why we want to be at a gas station if we could be at our office having our car charge? If we could be downtown and sit in parking slots instead of a parking meter, get a charging meter. We could stop to a restaurant, you plug in your charger and you pay a couple dollars for charging while you eat. That's what the world is going to be moving to, people. No more jitney on the road with all the black smoke. Because it ain't going to be no more black smoke. Because all the jitneys are going to be EVs. Ships will no longer be burning. When you see them ship out there with that big puff of smoke coming out of the smokestack, ship don't need no more smokestack. Because they already have some ships running on methanol. Some ships are running on what the thing name, not water, what the next thing name. So ships today already are not emitting any carbon through smokestacks. It's going to get better and better and better because the mandate by the United Nations have been set, people. That's been put in place last month at COP28. And again, we need to talk about some details to that. Why the world is changing. Because there's no choice. And we know that global warming is real. We see all that flooding they're having in California right now. We see all the flood they had in the UK, up in Wales and up north of London there just last month. I mean, we see with Hurricane Dorian and the rest, those big things, some of those typhoons are now coming very, very powerful because all the heat captured or trapped on Earth. But again, we ain't trying to go too far into that today. So those will be our basic topics that we seek to engage. And be advised that we are again locked and loaded with information. So please, I want you to just stay tuned as we unload this litany of details surrounding these timely topics. And allow me to take this opportunity to give a shout out to my number one fan, Auntie May, up in Freeport, 90 years and going strong. She got her 4 lovely daughters, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And she moving on to great-great-grandchild soon, eh? They keeping her busy with nothing but love. So a special good night to you, Annie Mae. Continue to be the number one fan of Maritime Matters. To our listening audience, I take this pleasure to introduce the man behind the controls, our wonderful producer for the night. I reserve no hesitation in presenting to you the insatiable, the man of the hour, the man with all the power. He is fully able, quite capable, the one and only Mr. Craig Gibson. There you go, people. Craig gives you that. Oh, you salute tonight. Well, that's a police salute, man, but we'll take that. Giving you that salute tonight. You're listening to Maritime. Excuse me. Where the tickleness come from? Okay, you're listening to Maritime Matters, people. On this show, we talk maritime. Maritime Matters airs weekly at 19:30, that's 7:30 p.m. every Tuesday here on Love 97. And we're looking into bringing the show earlier in the day. Come March, come next month, we are looking to shift from 7:30 p.m. to 1700, which is 5 p.m. after the news. So 5:15, 5:30, we'll be bringing Maritime Matters to you. And of course, we'll still go on for an hour and a half. We'll still cover all our amazing topics. Ain't nothing much to change. Just the time is going to come a little lower, so you can get in bed a little earlier, eh? The purpose of this show is to highlight persons that made significant contributions to maritime in the Bahamas and to sensitize Bahamians of opportunities in the maritime sector. We also cover current maritime issues. Like tonight, we got a lot of current issues from the domestic and international maritime feeds. Halfway through the show, we will open the 4 lines. The number to call will be 326-8255. Again, the number, if you want to reach us on this show, would be 326-8255. You could call at any time. Actually, the lines are open already. So we're talking maritime, people. You're listening to Maritime Matters. At this point, we move to our first break. When we return, we will engage tonight's maritime discussions. So listen, people, don't touch that dial because you know the deal. You don't want to miss this one. Thank you very much.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart. At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, continuing with our hot topics for the night, we kick off the Shanty town. The Shanty town that is very near to Coral Harbor. So near that some people call it the Coral Harbor Shanty town. It's off Carmichael Road and it's known as or dubbed Area 52. I don't know where that number 52 came from, why they dubbed it 52. We got a call on the line, producer. All right, we got a caller and we will respond. Got two callers. Caller, you on Maritime Matters. Good night. Hello.
Yes, sir. Good night. How you doing?
Top shape and getting better, brother Lau. How are you?
Oh, yeah. You know my voice well, too.
Well, I've been around you all them years, my brother. You ain't get away from me.
I called there concerning the Shanty town issue.
You see they taking one down today and by weekend that one should be down, eh?
You know we had a close view of a Shanty town before, right?
Well, you know that one gone, eh? That's the first one.
That was the first one.
That was the very first one, boy, and I talked about that for a while on the show.
The very first one.
Indeed. I was so happy to see that go down.
Yeah, we were right there.
We were right there while all the action was. As a matter of fact, we were there before it was a Shanty town. It was just a couple houses, and boy, that thing mushroom. Next thing you know, it was like 5 times the size of what we met there.
Man, you remember how they had a whole commercial area right there?
Oh yeah, everything you want, you can get.
But a lot of Bahamian public don't realize that those people really have some kind of logistic knowledge that they were only occupying property reserved for road. You remember that?
Yeah, the road reservation was fully covered. Well, I mean, it was more than that now. They make sure close that off.
That's what I'm saying.
As well, but yeah, man, they don't care where they go. The reality is, and I think I'm not sure, Brother Lau, but I think that property was privately owned. I don't think that was government land.
No, because I think those guys from Rock Homes.
Man, I ain't calling nobody name. I don't know if it was theirs or someone else owned, but I know there was a wall built, and the other side of the wall was theirs. I think they closed that off.
Yeah.
And so the people who owned that, I think they were reaping because the persons who coordinating all them homes and collecting all the rent, they just pay somebody. Yeah. And somebody who they pay is the person who own the land. Mm-hmm. Now, when they use government land, they ain't got nobody to pay. So they be pocketing all the money. And the thing is, sometimes when push come to shove, they just have people swing some of their own people and tell them, this is my land. Yep. And so when it's time for the government to kick in and say, we can get rid of this shanty town, the people be like, but this my boy said, it's his land. Okay, then. You know, and they thought they were safe and not breaking the law. But every time they build a house, any structure, anybody living in any structure in one of those homes, they're illegal in many ways. First of all, they meet the building code requirements. They meet the requirements for health as far as environmental health is concerned. And plus, they're not, the building is not erected on the owner's property. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's happening, man? What you got for me tonight?
I'm right here. I have an issue. I'm gonna have to sit down and talk to you with. I'm finally getting some grounds on that Coakley Town thing in Andrews.
Man, you're a rich man, I tell you. we know that from a long time. We just ain't get the money yet, but it's coming.
You know, I need to find out from you. The familiarity of going through Fresh Creek all the way through there to go heading west.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I need to discuss with you with. So we'll probably
yeah, well, we'll pull out the maps, pull out the charts, and you deal with that anytime. That ain't no big deal, man. That's a small thing to do. But
yeah,
I think they just built a new bridge to cross that waterway.
Yeah.
In Fresh Creek, yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't been on the sense. I don't know exactly how that will impact on anything. But I understand that they actually just either they renovated the existing bridge or they built a new bridge.
They kind of do a combination of both.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's now higher. It goes higher over the sea.
Yes.
Much higher.
Yeah, but y'all don't have no shanty towns in the area where you live.
Man, listen. I think when I go down Coakleystown and there and I check in there, I'm liable to find quite a few.
It sounds like you guys collect some money. That's your property, eh?
Oh, yeah. You know, the property is huge.
Yeah, but we can hold you hostage for causing shanty towns to be built. What didn't go through the proper channels with the Ministry of Works and all that.
Of course. Oh, and by the way, I don't know. I never got to tell you about dancing with Laurie. My granddaughter in Abaco, but we'll talk about that later.
No, you told me. You talked about that already, man. I know the funeral has passed and all the rest of that. Yeah, but we'll talk about all at one time.
Yes, sir. We'll touch base probably tomorrow afternoon. I'll call you and we set up from there.
Yeah, call me tomorrow and we'll set something up probably for the weekend.
And listen, take it easy on our boy tonight, eh?
Well, I can see what's happening. We got a call on the line right now. That's probably our boy.
Take care.
All right, lad. Take care, man.
All right. Thank you.
Call you on Maritime Matters. Hello. Good night.
Good night, Captain Bain.
Boy, Larry called you nuts.
I had to call to bring us back to Maritime Matters.
Thank you very much. You always rescuing me. That's one thing I like with you. You don't play with that. You ain't gonna let me stray off too far.
No. But Cap, good night and thank you for taking the call. I want to just chime in on this whole the situation in the Red Sea with the Houthis.
Yeah, man, I know that's your area of operations. I remember that while you was ISPS coordinator, you had the red line, and anytime one of our ships were attacked by pirates or anything, you're the one who had to respond, eh?
That is correct. This situation, I'm gonna say I might be probably controversial with my opinion on this, but the Red Sea is the lifeline for world trade, and once you interfere with that, the whole world stops and pays attention, because world trade have to exist, have to carry on, and it have to be as efficient as possible so that we can afford to buy whatever we use, all our goods that we use every day, down to the Q-tip or the paper clip, right?
Yeah, it hits everybody in the pocket, yeah.
Right, and so the Houthis, based on their reasoning behind what they're doing, is because of the fact that they are saying that the whole Arab community and the world is sitting back while genocide is taking place in the Gaza, and I think the initiative, that particular initiative, really and truly has brought some attention to the issue in Gaza, which is dire. For those who are following what's going on, it's a dire situation there, and if you were to look at what South Africa did and their representation at the International Criminal Court of Justice, what the Houthis are doing, and what it seems as though these guys, along with very few other Western countries, are trying to bring some focused attention to a situation that, in my opinion, very, very, very disturbing, because you have a lot of innocent women and children being killed for no, with no end in sight. So if what they're doing in the Red Sea gonna cause the world to say, hey, let's really have a look at what's going on over here, then I think that maybe, even though it may not be something that it may not be an exercise in fertility. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, but it's so connected because the United Nations outrightly condemn it, right? The EU was reluctant to come on board because they condemn it. But at the end of the day, it's supported by the US and Britain and a couple other allies of the US. And that being the case, because they are so important to the EU is now saying, boy, we gotta jump on this bandwagon and cause shipping to go through again. Now they're not saying that they're gonna stop the Israelis from bombing the Gaza.
Yeah.
Which is really what they should be trying to stop first, but they realize they can't. So would they pass that now and they're going down to the Red Sea? Because the Red Sea is also borders Somalia, and it's been said now that the piracy activity is picking up now. That the people are coming closer, much closer to Somalia to stave off from Yemen. But of course, only a few ships are coming through compared to what normally would come through.
Yeah, and so I just believe that. Anybody who has a voice and in whatever forum you could use your voice. In my opinion, the cause is monumental in terms of saving lives and the fact that, hey, these people have nowhere to go. There's nowhere to run, and they're being pummeled really and truly. So I believe the cause is a noble one, and I'm not supporting violence in any form. However, sometimes it takes these kind of things to get other people to pay attention to our neighbors and what's going on. Yeah, we may say these people are far away from us and what should matter to us, but every life matters, in my opinion,
Yeah, well, every life matters, Brother Brain, but like everything else, I guess in some ways, a lot of countries are saying one set of bombing shouldn't make another set of bombing right.
Yeah.
One set of bombing between two countries compared to another set of bombing against the entire world, because those ships have nothing to do with any of this that are being targeted by the Houthis.
According to the Houthis, they only targeting ships that are aligned with Israel and.
Oh, that was initially, but now they're going after cruise ships. They're going out and these cruise ships have nothing to do with Israel. But some MSC, all those big countries, they car ship. They're going after almost everything now. They're just trying to make a statement right now to say if the bombing don't stop in Gaza, we are not going to stop bombing ships that are trying to. They're going after. Right now they're trying to bomb the warships.
They actually bombed the first ship was a Danish ship, if I'm not mistaken. The first commercial vessel was Danish, but in any event, that's the whole purpose behind it. I think is a noble effort, and I just think this whole business of what's going on in Gaza is spawning a lot of other activities, and slowly but surely. Other countries are being affected, like the bombing in Syria, the bombing in
Iraq,
and those. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just concerned that if we don't get this under control quickly, this thing could very easily spiral out of control with no end in sight. But that's it. That's my contribution on that particular issue. But to the Shanty town, just a question. You mentioned a particular number of houses that is earmarked to be taken down this week. Is it 70 you mentioned?
Yeah, 70 homes and over 100 residents.
Okay, and so this the same shanty town that's near the well fields?
No. This one is very near the Coral Harbor, almost to the near the Coral Harbor roundabout area, but right off Carmichael Road. I haven't been there to see exactly where it is, but based on what I've been reading, they call it Area 52, and they call it Coral Harbor Shantytown. So I don't even think this is on the side of the street where the oil fields are.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I would have observed in recent times. I've seen a lot of immigration buses and immigration department is on the ground, and I just want to send a shout out to those immigration officers and all those officers who are participating in this particular effort, because I have seen they appear to be on the ball, they appear to be working, they appear to be cracking down, and I think we're on the right track in terms of at least fixing a problem in this country that has existed for quite some time.
You are absolutely correct, my friend, because if you look at this, you have to give kudos to Minister Clay Sweeting, eh?
Oh, indeed.
I mean, could he be deemed the most effective government minister since Minister Loftus-Roker back in the 70s and 80s?
Well, I think from the evidence, what we can see around us in terms of the amount of shanty towns that are coming down and the kind of focused attention being paid to it, I think I would say definitely yes. And I have my fingers crossed, and I have high hopes that he will continue to do us proud in that regard.
Well, I can tell you, so far, Cool Acres came down. That was demolished. All Saints Way was eradicated about a month later. And now Area 52 in Coral Harbor is being taken down. And I assume next month they're going to take down a big one in Abaco because they already served notice there. We don't have a schedule, and I like to see a schedule. But if it keeps moving along like this, then a schedule may not be needed. I mean, all I can say is keep up the spectacular performance, my friend. I mean, we can use a couple more like him, eh?
Well, indeed, and I would love to for you to send out an invite so that we could get him on the show and give him his kudos on national radio.
No, well, I'll give it to him all the time. I'm not sure he'll want to appear on a Maritime show to discuss these things. As a matter of fact, I haven't heard him on any show discussing the way forward. I see more action and talk from Minister Clay Sweeting, and that's what we need. We need action.
Oh, indeed, and you're absolutely correct, and I fully agree. But thank you very much for the opportunity to make this contribution. I'll sit down and I will allow somebody else to call, and I'm sure that I will be chiming in the very near future based on if you stay on track or not.
Indeed. Well, I thank you, as always, for giving that valuable contribution to Maritime Matters. And do listen in and feel free to call back, as you know, at any time. And we will keep pressing on, my brother.
Indeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we still on Shanty Towns. As indicated by the previous two callers, we've had two callers so far. We have over 70 houses being demolished this week. Some of them already down. Bulldozers carrying on bad up in there. And then we had a situation where one of the residents was interviewed, as I was reading in the press. Call, I see you on the line. And that resident is saying, where I can go? I have a daughter and a son who's Bahamian. Why should Bahamians be allowed to be in shanty towns? We don't want Bahamians in there either. We got to get rid of the shanty towns, period. Call you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Hey, I ain't got much minutes. Let me make my little quick thing. Listen, if you come to the Bahamas, come the right way, and you do the right things like Bahamians do it. If you do it outside of the way Bahamians do it, then you would suffer the same fate that these people in these shanty towns are facing right now. Bahamians can't do it, so that means you can't do it. You're not from here, and you got to do what we do. Right or wrong?
You're absolutely right. But why do some people seem to think that if Bahamians are among those in the shanty town, the Bahamians should stay?
Well, listen at me. If you don't obey the rules and the regulations, that's why we got so much lawlessness today. You got to obey. You know what I mean? The quantum physics say you obey the rules, then things will go smooth. Right or wrong?
I with you 1,000 times, my brother. Absolutely right.
Okay, let me go over to the Middle East over there. You know what I mean? Let me say a little something about the Red Sea.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know China's sitting back and waiting right now because all these goods on these ships, 99% of it coming from China. And China haven't done anything yet. China doesn't want to ruffle feathers because China is in a particular position where if they were to take sides right now, you know what I mean? You know, sometimes they go with Russia, they go with other places, and they don't want to ruffle no feathers over there. So they're leaving it up to Israel and the United States and France and them to do all this foolishness, right?
Yeah, but China ain't losing nothing, you know, because China's still sending the goods out. It's just that the goods taking longer to get to its destination. That don't affect China. China doesn't get paid.
Because the goods are already gone. But then a lot of these goods, if they don't get there, are already credited. All these goods ain't paid for, you know. You know what I mean? Because the biggest thing about trade is deficit. You know what I mean? Debit.
No, you know China got plenty of patience, man. They once they know those goods are gone. We had a big problem when the stuff couldn't get out of China when COVID was closing down those big ports. That's when we really had some trouble. But once China get them out, and you know, for the first phase, we will have a delay of, I think they say 14 days, 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, that's 8,000 miles around the Cape of Good
Cape of Good Hope, and it's causing. They say, but once 2 weeks then pass, that 2 weeks gap will close, and the goods will continue flowing in so long as they go around the Cape of Good Hope, because it's just that initial 2 weeks where we'll have a problem, you know.
Yeah. Well, Ben, let me tell you something. You was talking about the United Nations a while ago, right?
Yep.
The United Nations is doing a bunch of foolishness in this world.
Well, the United Nations are only a group of countries, you know. They are guided and steered along by those with all the power.
Well, I'll tell you something. The United Nations said the other day that they only had a peacekeeping force in Burkina Faso, like 1,500 people. And
boy.
But they showed up like over 15,000 troops is inside there. United Nations, and these are the same people that are governing us. You know what I mean? They ain't doing justice for the people. The kind of policies they got ain't good for us as black people, though.
Well, the policies are set by countries of the world, right? And I think black people are getting more and more out of the United Nations as time moves on. Now, you got to remember, like everything else, he that has the money has the influence.
Yeah, well, Ben, guess what? I can sit back and listen like Captain Ben and Blue Hills. I'll sit back and listen, okay?
Thank you so much for calling, my friend, and let's keep in touch and continue to listen. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, call, I see you on the line. Oh, we got another call. Let's go straight there. Caller, you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Hello, and hi, how are you?
I am in top shape, my dear, and how are you?
I am divine.
You sound exciting. You got me excited.
This is Golden Girl Pauline.
Hey, Pauline Davis. Pauline, how are you?
Listen, I am doing okay.
Thank you. You graced the show a couple months ago with your presence, and now you're giving us a call. Thank you so much.
Yes. You're what you're discussing is near and close and dear to my heart.
Okay, let's go for it. What do you have to offer for us?
Well, basically, I support what you're saying about our young people and sport. And if we are being very honest with ourselves, sports more than any other entity has educated more Bahamians. Yes.
Oh yeah. Most of our scholarships come from sports. So if we have sports at a very effective level in our country like it used to be some time ago, then maybe we would have more attention from some of our young people who stay in the house playing computers all day.
Definitely. I remember some years back, of course, this is when I was an athlete. I remember I used to, when I come home, I used to go in and help Coach Sidney Cartwright. And I remember this young man who I had helped that particular afternoon, the very next afternoon. So let's say I helped him this afternoon. So tomorrow afternoon, he came back to practice. He said, Miss Pauline, did you hear about that shooting in Nassau Village?
Wow.
I said, no, baby, I didn't. He said, Miss Pauline, I would have been dead. You'd have heard that I was dead. That's the spot I normally sit in that same spot. But I got home from practice, Miss Pauline, I was so tired. I didn't even eat. I took a shower and I went straight to my bed. And all I could do was just wrap my arms around this young man and just hold him tight and just show him so much love.
Yep.
Because that's how fast things happen. And because of sport, this young man was able to avoid getting killed.
That's right, because he was at practice.
Yes.
Wow.
And he, of course, he went on to university and graduated from university, and he's a good quality man for our country. And I just know that sport. Everybody know my background, right? I'm out of Baintown, yeah.
Yes.
And I wasn't supposed to amount to much, right? I'll never forget when I was 14 years old. When I heard a prominent Bahamian coach said that all I was going to amount to was a mattress for men, eh?
What?
Yeah. Of 6 or 7 kids for 6 or 7 different men, but the devil is a liar. And I think we need to get, I believe, this is my belief. From the time you start walking, you should be involved in sports. That's my belief.
Well, Pauline, we had, this country we have had so many stars, or should I say, top level athletes in track and field. And when you look back at the programs, track and field has programs in place from toddlers. You don't have that in any other sport. So the fact that this country has done so well, when you compare us per capita with the rest of the world, I think if we're not number one, we're definitely in the top 3.
We're number 1.
We're number 1, but we've done so well in track and field.
Yes.
If we had done in basketball and baseball and softball, what we have done in track and field with sporting programs, you know how much mushrooms, how many people we would have had. The thing is, you can identify your athletes from a very early age, from a competitive level. I remember when I was in primary school, we used to have primary school softball against each other. We didn't have basketball. We didn't have volleyball. But the thing is, there's no reason why in this country, from primary school level, not only schools, communities, every constituency, in my opinion, should have teams, sporting teams in basketball, volleyball, baseball, softball, track and field, and this should be age group sporting teams, and we should have constituency versus constituency until playoff comes around to see which 4 constituencies made the playoff, and then we have championship after the playoff, and this could be an annual thing in every single sport we play in this country. But it has to happen from the MP of each area.
I agree with that.
Identify the people in your area that can play sports, give them a stipend, give them facilities, and let's get it. I remember one time I was in Jamaica. I was in Jamaica doing a maritime course. And we took lunch break, and they had, I think, an insurance place next door. Do you know that in the back of this insurance place, they had a dirt track? And they were having competitions against all the other insurance companies of that group. And you should see the level of track and field they had right behind that building. We don't do such things in our country. And people try to figure out why the Jamaicans are doing. This was back in the 90s I saw this happen.
You know, let me say this, right? For the Jamaicans, sports is a way out for many of them. Way out.
Yeah, but programs don't have to be way out.
And of course, they also have programs that the Jamaican organizations they have implemented to help their young people.
And identify the better people.
Yes, and I agree. We definitely could be doing these things here in the Bahamas. it's best for a child or a young man to pick up a spike or a baseball bat instead of picking up a gun.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. And it gets them outdoors in a positive way, because a lot of the young kids don't even come outdoors no more. They're on those computer games playing those. Well, you know, they play on those games. I mean, some of those are about shooting and killing, and that's what they're about. But if they can be a part of a team, and I can tell you, simple as Freedom Farm and JBLN, the quality of athletes that were turned out just from those two fields. That ain't the constituencies around this island now. Just those two fields. We have people now playing in the major leagues that if they didn't exist would not have been in the major leagues. And that's only one sport. And then we get track and field, which was always doing that type of thing with the various clubs. And you know, we got the Stephen Murrays and Ashland Murrays and the coaches who really have been there from way back, bringing those children through.
Yes.
We can do that in all sports, you know.
Listen to me. You listen to me. I wrote a program, right? And in that program that I wrote, I spoke about in that program about wellness and grooming, public speaking, going back into the community and doing community work. Mm-hmm. And I also, my dream and my vision is to see our government high school, which is a school I went to and I love dearly, turn into a sports academy.
Yeah.
That's my wish. And the reason I would want to see that school turn into a sports academy and they could build another government high school somewhere close by is because of all the different athletic facilities that are within that area.
Oh yeah, that is the mecca of sports, right in the backyard or the front yard of GHS.
Right, and I would start from grade 7 to grade 12.
But you know, we use that sometimes for Bahama games and whatnot to facilitate some of the people from the family islands. When we had Bahama games back in the day, GHS was the venue for people to stay and have lunch and eat and all the rest of that. So they're right there, and like you say, you have all the sporting facilities right around there.
And I think, you know, for me, all it is it would be a specialized high school, right? Where all tennis players, basketball players, softball players, track runners, swimmers, they will all go to that school.
Yep.
Right? And they will study, they will have classes at a certain time, they will have their studies at a certain time, and they will practice at a certain time. In 1984 was my last Carifta for the country, right? Mm-hmm. I stayed in my own classroom at Government High School for those Carifta games.
Right.
It just so happened that my classroom was the place that I ended up staying at with some of my other teammates.
How ironic is that, eh?
I know how ironic is that, mm-hmm. and so I know that we can do better as a nation, and we have done. Don't get me wrong, we have done well, but we could do so much better.
Sports is the greatest thing we can do to curb some of this crime.
Yes, I support that 300%. I completely agree with you.
So we really need our government, first of all, because it ain't going to happen without the MPs digging into their various constituencies and finding appropriate people to put on certain programs. And the Ministry of Sports perhaps organizing constituency versus constituency schedule for the whole year in all the different sports. And we got to start somewhere. We talk about Bahama games where people can be coming in from the islands. New Providence has more than half of the people in the Bahamas. Let's start here.
Yeah, we could also have small academies and those family of islands, definitely.
Well, the family of islands don't have to be left out because we still have Bahama games. But I think if you start here, it will mushroom into the family islands. Get those federations and associations involved, because a lot of times they're just taking up space. They're not really checking for developing programs in those sports. They just have the night league, and that's basically it. We need to move forward in this country and give the youth something to look forward to, so that they wouldn't have to turn to smoking the grass and picking up the guns and playing bad and computer games all day. No, we are reaping what we sow. And that's all we sow, and so that's what we're reaping. So we need to get some outdoor stuff going again. And this is how I think the crime would be curbed in this country, because there's nothing else to do but crime. There's no programs for nothing else. And that ain't no excuse for crime, because crime is everywhere.
Yeah, we definitely have to keep those young people active in different things.
Yes.
Yes. There's definitely a lot more that we can do to produce more productive Bahamian citizens.
Yes.
They don't all have to, go into sports, or they don't all have to become a track athlete or baseball player, whatever have you, but they could become good, productive citizens from the things that they learn.
That is correct.
Within that organization.
Exactly.
It's truly sad to see what is happening in our beloved country right now. It is very, very, very sad. And I can say unequivocally that the Bahamas is the most beautiful country in the world, and no one can question me saying that, because I've been to 177 countries with these gifted legs.
Exactly.
And none of the ones that I have not seen is impossible for them to be more beautiful than the Bahamas.
Boy, I agree with you 1,000. I may not have been to all those countries, but I know I had a good handful, and I can tell you, I always can't wait to get back home.
And I worked for tourism for like 20 years. Ooh. And one of the things that we learned, like at Bahama hosts and different things, they will say, it's the sun, sand, and sea that's bringing the tourists here. But after you would have traveled like I traveled to all these different countries, you realize that no, it's not the sun, sand, and sea.
It goes far deeper than
that. Indomitable spirit of the Bahamian people. It's good morning, good afternoon, how you doing? How can I help you? And if we get away from that, and right now, we got to be so careful, because we're on the edge. We get away from that, we're going to all end up starving in our beautiful country.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Pauline, I thank you so much. We got another call on the line for giving us that timely contribution to what we can focus on to get this crime escalation curbed in a more positive direction.
You are most welcome, and I know that we can get this done. Together, we are better together when we put our minds together and come up with solutions to the problem that we are facing, because this is our home. This is the Bahamas. Bahamas is our home. And we want to live in peace here, and we want the tourists to keep coming to visit our shores. Yes?
Absolutely.
Want our young people to make something of themselves.
Yeah, we want to be proud of our young people, because right now we're proud of a few, boy, but the majority of them are really letting us down. So we got to get programs in place for them to be more occupied in positive things.
I agree, Captain Bain. And I think if we keep talking about it and we keep pushing, we can make it happen.
Absolutely.
Together, collectively. There's no I in team, because we're Team Bahamas. You take every single living Bahamian to be a part of this for us to succeed.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much for that input, and we're going to continue along that line, because we're going to have to do something to try and get our country back, eh?
Yes, I agree.
Thank you so much, Pauline. Take care.
And thank you so much for having me.
Okay, good night.
Okay, good night.
Caller, you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Hello, we're talking maritime, people.
Talking maritime, my brother.
Maritime.
We're also talking about this crime escalation. We throw that in there because we can't ignore it. We could talk maritime as much as we like, but we have to address things like when our country is being so adversely impacted.
But that's what I'm calling to speak about.
And you and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we was talking about the Park League, eh?
Yeah, but my point is, and not to take away from the point of the previous caller or yourself.
That's not just a previous caller now. That's D. Pauline Davis.
Yeah, we're talking maritime people. I'm talking about when we talk about young people and opportunities and things that can get our young guys, young boys and girls on track. We have a lot of gaps to fill in terms of our requirements. We have the next generation of fishermen that need to be trained. We need to identify who they're going to be from the high school level. We have our next generation of persons who's going to operate all those mail boats and other maritime transportation around this country. We could begin to identify those folks and put them on a path. We have rowing that's possible at the lake, where we can put that as a part of the school sporting curriculum. And then, if you want to talk sports, we actually can probably eventually have a team in the Olympics in rowing. We have a lot of things in the maritime industry that's virtually untapped. A lot of areas where our young people could be there, including sporting areas. And so let's continue to push the message that the maritime industry is ripe for the picking. We have lots and lots. We are so underexploited in terms of just our fisheries resort, just to be able to manage that and to be able to service and provide employment on the mail boats and the like. We have a lot of work to do to get our people where they need to be, so that these foreigners don't have to occupy jobs that Bahamians could ordinarily you take advantage of. And then lastly, Cap, what do you think about the fact that Portuguese in recent years has been a place where we've had so much drowning? Maybe it's time for us to put some ring buoys along the causeway there, in case we have somebody fall overboard. We have a lot of tourist activity in that area now, where it'll be. I wouldn't even want to think about it, right? But maybe we need to look at some safety aspects along Portuguese and to. I don't know whether or not they will address that particular issue, but certainly we will be a little bit more prepared and instead of so reactive to these events.
Yeah, what we can readily do in that regard, Brother Herb, and this is something that I had a discussion with another maritime enthusiast who has a business on the waterfront. I don't know if you remember that time when you said the police came to rescue a dog or something like that, the police boat or the defense force boat. Yeah, you can rig ladders. You can rig steel ladders on the side of the wharf all around Porter's Key, all around, because they think that aluminum will be better because they wouldn't rust as quickly, or they would do it. And you could actually just install them in strategic places, and you wouldn't have to worry about ring buoys, because ring buoy needs someone to throw it to you. But if you get near the shore or the wharf, and you could grab onto one of those ladders that are rigged on the outside. But of course, you may want to do some indentation so that when the ship is there, it wouldn't rub against the ladder and all the rest of that. But it got to be some means of people getting out of the water if they fall overboard or whatever.
Yeah, but definitely ladders will help. Ring buoys also can help. You put the lines on them, and at least if someone is drifting away from the dock, you'll be able to throw that to them, and they'll be able to stay afloat until a rescue boat arrives. But certainly both of those.
Ring buoys will be a good augmentation, and you go in some ports around the world, and you actually see them with the ring buoys mounted in certain areas around their wharfs. Yeah.
So I hope my good friend Byrne is listening, because I will tomorrow approach him on the possibility of us looking at
safety measures on Porter's Key.
Yeah, because Porter's Key is fast becoming a very, very important tourism hub. And we have to do all that we can to safeguard not only our guests, but the numerous Bahamians who frequent this area on a daily basis. So that's my contribution. Thank you very much. And
absolutely,
back
my
to
friend.
Maritime Matters.
Back to Maritime Matters. Thank you so much, Brother Herb. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, back to Maritime Matters. We've had quite a few good calls tonight. You didn't expect all these calls. But all of these calls have been giving positive contributions to the way to go in Maritime. We were talking about the Coral Harbor Shanty Town, which is known as the Area 52, just off Carmichael Road near the Coral Harbor roundabout area. And as indicated earlier, we have some 100 persons that were occupying that area with over 70 homes or houses or buildings, structures, let's call them structures, that had to be demolished for obvious reasons. They didn't get the proper approvals as they were being built to be built up to the code standards and all the rest of that. And I gotta give kudos to my good friend Craig Delancey. He obviously runs the building control section in the Ministry of Works, and he is the person that is spearheading, and I dare say on behalf of Minister Clay Sweeting, ensuring that every structure in the Bahamas that were built and not built to code needs to come down. They do it to you, they do it to me. They do it to anybody who try to sneak up structures without going through the proper channel. So there's no reason why they shouldn't start with those that are obviously have evaded the Ministry of Works Building Code section and applying for proper overview of their structures going up, eh? So Craig, my friend, Mr. Craig Delancey, keep up the good work. You in a good time for Minister Clay Sweeting to have you do these things. And I know you as a no-nonsense fella, something like me. I know you from way back. And if I was to put my money on somebody getting it done, Craig, you know, I ain't got no hesitation to put one little $2 on you, my brother. So, again, the demolition of that shanty town, the Area 52 up in Coral Harbor area, is scheduled to be completed by the end of this week. And again, that's according to my good friend Craig Delancey. So, kudos to Minister Sweeting and his team. Again, he's brought down Cool Acres, he brought down All Saints, he's now bringing down Area 52. And guess what next? We say that big shanty town in Habaco, we have that targeted to come down real soon, along with others, because I didn't even know about this one in Coral Harbor. Now I finding out we rolling along, and I am so moved by how we rolling along, eh? We got a call on the line. Caller, you on Maritime Matters. Thank you so much for calling.
Yes, what is mind-blowing, and I just can't understand. How do people feel that they can just go into a country, put up structures, you don't own the land, and decide for the people who are entitled to the land and to the politicians to just let you be? I mean, where does this all start? I mean, why do people feel that they can do it? There's no country in the world anyone can just go in and decide to take land and build structures.
I agree, and guess what, ma'am? Thank you so much for bringing that.
Building code for something that you don't own.
Thank you so much.
Even that's off limits, even with Ministry of Works, because if you don't own a property, how could you go and apply for a building permit for something that you don't own?
Well, one of the first things the Ministry of Works will ask you for is the papers for that land. You cannot. They will not give you any approval. They will not even accept your application unless you can prove that you're the owner of that land that you're doing the structure on.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I sympathize with human nature, but I'm saying if I don't own something, how can I just go and decide I can put up a building?
I'll tell you what happens in most of those cases. See, a lot of money is involved in this thing, madam. What happens is somebody decides this is an area out here, ain't nobody checking for this area. I am going to start building houses and I am going to charge rent, right? And they go and they put up 2 or 3 houses and they charge rent, and then they keep tacking on. And because over the years, our politicians has gotten so lax after Mr. Roker left and Mr. Shane Gibson left, they have gotten so lax that people was getting away with putting up these structures. The people at Ministry of Works know where all of these structures are, you know. But a lot of times they cannot act.
The Ministry of Work should be held accountable too, because the minute you see a structure going up, you should be on the ground and asking, well, why, who, where, when, how, what, and do what you have to do.
Yeah, but see, these fellas smart, you know. They know where to channel this money, because if you're making $25,000 a month of unregulated homes, you can find out which minister you got to give some money to, eh?
Well, that's all said and done, and I think that's the problem now.
And that was the problem. These people were protected. So me or you who work in that ministry, we can't dare touch those people. But now look like we got the green light to touch them now, and Mr. Craig Delancey is free to do his job now. So we are now getting it done, and I haven't seen a schedule, like I say, ma'am. But boy, I look forward to seeing one someday. And if it's gonna continue the way it's going, I even want to see no schedule no more. All I want to know is at least once a month, one coming now.
And when you look at it, when you have areas that you don't know who in there, what in there, people have to survive. So where's the employment? So you can do what you want, do your mischief, and go and hit in there. There's no record of you.
That is what they do. They hide amongst the unregulated.
Yeah, well, the Bahamas, until we get this immigration thing right, we up against a lot of problems.
Yes, well, you know, like I keep pleading and begging for the ministry responsible for immigration to get out there and make sure that people have the proper document to be on these jobs.
Exactly.
Because you got people with a work permit to be a farm laborer at a particular facility or site, and they're working at ladders. And that's what's going on, ma'am. This is the reality of what we're faced with. And those responsible, how difficult would it be for a team of immigration personnel on a weekly basis, just one day out every week, to go to a different job site and check through the status of the people employed, eh? That's not difficult to do, but you think they ever do it?
No.
We got all of our mail boats right to Portisky. And more than 50% of the people working on those mail boats are non-Bahamians. And we got a government policy that says the transportation area is reserved for Bahamian citizens to work only.
You know,
and you
think look at it, if we don't grab a hold of this thing, one day we're going to wake up and realize something is above our head that we can't handle.
It's all about the Benjamins. It's that corruption going on in our country. And we the people are our only ones who could cause this to change. Because the politicians ain't in control themselves. The heads of departments ain't in control themselves. They're making money.
Yeah.
And we know what their salaries are. And we see them in these big fancy houses and big time vehicles and big time suits. And we know they can't really afford that of them salary. So we don't have to wonder which one of them corrupt, you know.
Yeah, but when this thing escalates and fume, everybody end up getting the rope around the neck.
That's the reason why we, the people, got to bring pressure to bear on those authorities. I try from my little neck of the woods up in here, but this only could go so far, eh?
Yeah.
But I thank you so much for that input and that call, because it's right on cue.
Hi, Auntie Mary.
Hello. Good night, Annie Mae. Oh, I tell you. Annie Mae was a star last week. I don't know if you heard Annie Mae's clip last week when she break down the show the week before.
Yes, and leave your number with the producer for me, please.
Yes, the producer has my number. You're gonna leave your number with the producer for me to call you then?
I did, yeah. Okay. I did, but I never got a call from you.
I think he gave me that. No, you wait till. Boy, that's the second time. My producer is the best producer in the world, but don't worry, I can get on him tonight.
What is your number?
See that? I could put you on the producer now, and he can give you my number.
Okay, all right.
Might not be no secret. 359-1424. Ain't no secret. That's my cell number.
359-1424.
359-1424. Captain Glenn Bain.
359-1424.
Yes, ma'am. You could call me anytime when the show ain't going on, because I have my phone on airplane mode. So thank you so much. I told Annie Mae about you, and boy, she is so elated. She so love how she got people who like how she's my number one fan, and she's be contributing and breaking down my show every week. So thank you for calling as always.
Okay, bye-bye.
And we will be in touch.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am. Okay, take care. Yes, that's my number 2 fan. That's Auntie Mae, number 1 fan. Boy, she don't let me run the show unless I say good night to my Auntie Mae. It just don't happen. So I say thank you to her. My goodness, the time is gone. Only 11 minutes left. What will we do in 11 minutes? We haven't talked about the wind farms and the solar energy and all that good stuff yet. So I guess we'll have to talk about that next week. And what I'm going to do, because I have so much information here, next week, I think I go open up the show talking about these alternative energy sources. We need to know where we're going. We need to know what is happening already, what is projected to happen, and how this planet is going to be safe from all that fossil fuel emitting carbon into the environment that we clogged of carbon already and all the rest of that good stuff. So we'll move to our last break. Boy, we only got 10 minutes, but we can move to our last break any old how. And after that break, we will have a brief discussion on wind farms and solar energy sources. Mr. Producer, take us to the breaks out. Thank you very much.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart. At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling Building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Maritime Matters. As you know, we've had a very, very active show tonight. Many calls, very, very good input, because the topics that we covered or are covering are what we need to discuss. Next week will be a lot more maritime stuff going on, eh? Lately we've been hearing about the group from Kenya. Kenya had a squadron of police that they wanted to send to Haiti in order to assist in stabilizing Haiti, the Haitian people, and having them be reinstalled reinstalled with a governing body, and it's bringing them back to normalcy, because as you know, it's really chaotic right now in Haiti. And I think because they were sending policemen instead of military troops, the court overruled and said that policemen cannot leave the country to go and deal with other country matters. So I don't know, it would appear now that I guess Kenya wouldn't be coming in, because remember, Kenya was a country that approached the United Nations about the peacekeeping mission in Haiti. The United Nations gave the green light, but now apparently the Kenyan courts are turning that to amber or red. But as we all know, a short few years ago, there was a peacekeeping force, a United Nations peacekeeping force, that went to Haiti, and I think they were there for about 2 years. Haiti was in a very similar dilemma as it is in today. The president was overturned, he had to flee and all the rest of that, and the place was in uproar, and we had quite a good handful of defense force personnel, along with people from Belize and people from Jamaica and Barbados and Trinidad and St. Kitts, and we had people from all over the region come together in a United Nations peacekeeping mission. And the job was done with no problems. But some people seem to think that the Bahamas don't have to be involved in that. Let Haiti solve their own problems. Come on, man. How could Haiti solve their own problems if the place is chaotic? Perhaps if a peacekeeping force goes in there and stabilize things, Haiti will be able to re-engage in proper running and eventually pull themselves out of the doldrum. You remember now, this thing goes around and comes around. Because Haiti is doing so bad now does not mean that Haiti will be the country doing so bad later. But we got to be our brother's keeper, eh? We don't need to be thinking that our defense force is just a bunch of wimps who, if they go down to Haiti, gonna get chopped up with cutlass. If they go down to Haiti, they just die and don't come back home. We've done this. We've been there, done this. No problem. Everybody came back home. And not only from the Bahamas, but from all the countries. Going down there as a peacekeeping force, and I can tell you, Haiti, more than any other country in the world, perhaps, want stability. You got people down there who's afraid to come at their house. You think they want to live like that for the rest of their life? No, man. Let's help them out. Let's assist in getting stability to Haiti, of course, from a United Nations peacekeeping perspective. Because that's what we're here for. Our brothers keepers. We would expect our brothers to come to our aid if, for some reason, this country becomes chaotic. Let's be very, very close now, eh? We are very, very close to anarchy in this country, based on the almost 1 murder per day from last month. So that's how we rolling. So, you know, with or without the personnel at Kenya, we should be able to get together as a region and bring stability to Haiti. I want you to know that the Haitian people, they are brothers and sisters. Come on, man. We don't get no closer than that. Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, we all brothers and sisters. And when one is in trouble, we should get together and help them out, if we could. And we can. So hopefully we'll have another look at that and we will just go for it. So we talk about the Shanty town coming down in Coral Harbor, which by the end of this week should be flattened altogether. We talk about the crime escalation in our country, particularly in New Providence, and the need to have sporting programs. Like a very good call coming in from, if not the most popular athlete the Bahamas ever had, one of the most popular athletes the Bahamas ever had. Gold medalist in her own right, Lady Pauline Davis called in, and she was just saying how track and field helped her and helped some other people out of poverty, out of that troublesome neck of the woods. She also talked about back in the day how Baintown may have been deemed to be one of those downtrodden areas, but they lived as a community, and from that community she emerged. And I can tell you too that from the community of Roll Avenue, I would have emerged. Our Prime Minister Brave Davis would have emerged. So those little villages back in the day wasn't nothing to play with. And we can get back there through sports. So hopefully the government will find somewhere in its arsenal a setup for sporting programs that can pull many of these young people who are turning to drugs and turning to guns into professional athletes and athletes of well repute that would have an appreciation for life. They wouldn't no longer be that's a person that have no value in their life because all they want to do is smoke dope and don't want nobody bother them. It'll be they have aspirations through sports to achieve. So what else can I say? We had the Red Sea Dilemma, we had the wind farm, and that's basically our time gone. I'm a minute over. Oh, Mr. Producer, I'm so sorry again. I don't know why I always do this to my producer. I always got him going over by a minute or two. But anyway, since we're wrapping up, that is all wrapped up. I want to thank all my callers tonight. And what, we got another caller on the line? Boy, I know. We can see what my producer do. Okay, that one here on the line. Very good. So I thank all my callers, and most important of all, I thank you, the listener, because without you listening into the show, Maritime Matters goes nowhere. So please continue to listen. Feel free to take part at any time in our discussion, and yeah, we encourage that. So good night again to my Auntie May and my all the people that bring us live every week. We got Bahamas Maritime Connection as our sponsor. We got my good cousin Shanty McBride and a lovely team at One-on-One Pharmacy and Island Care Pharmacy in Freeport. And then we got the Bimini pilots and the Grand Bahama pilots that are available for piloting ships all around our good Bahamas. So I say good night to everybody. And again, thank you for listening. And with that, as always, we say Maritime Matters out.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting.